Welcome to the Homeless Conservative. I'm your host, Don Poe. We're going to look over this shooting from Minneapolis yesterday with ICE and a protester, but there's a little bit more to this story than just the initial headline. Now, I warn you, this is somewhat graphic, more due to the people's reaction, and it really got me as well. So it is a little graphic.
No! No! Shame! Shame! Oh my fucking God!
This angle, you can see it just doesn't look like an officer was in front of the vehicle.
Looking closely at. So you can see this different angle appears to show the SUV strike the officer who fired the deadly shots. He was hospitalized but released. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem says the woman used her car as a weapon. So the woman who was killed has now been identified as Renee Nicole Macklin Good. We know she's 37 years old. She recently moved to Minnesota and was out there for what some people called being a legal observer, trying to see what ICE was doing. Investigators say she wasn't just here at this scene, okay? She had been walking around and following them around in her car at other locations to stop operations. Some officials say this woman was murdered by ICE. The mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, saying...
Did you catch that? She has been at other protests and has confronted ICE there as well. So she has already a track record with basically stalking them. Now, I myself do not feel she should have been unalived at all. I just recently had an interaction with law enforcement that, has me really opening my eyes that there's some problems here. There is. We all know this. We've all been trying to address this for decades. It's all really in training and how you approach things. Now, for instance, recently in California, there was a woman that blocked ICE and then shot at them out of the vehicle. Took off, rammed vehicles, got shot, and lived. So with that in the back of your mind, if you're at work all the time, and I say this a lot in the mind frame is pro law enforcement on the aspect that's a dangerous job. It really is. Now you're dealing with people that feel so personal with this because of maybe loved ones or friends from their family or even in their community that have been taken back to their country of origin for whatever purpose, or the news has them, or however, maybe it's so deep that they don't even know what they're out there for sometimes, and they're given signs that you'll see in multiple cities. Now, keep all that into mind when you weigh something like this. I initially seen this and was appalled. Like, no, I have prior experience with law enforcement. Let's see a little bit more of this story first, though, okay?
They should get out of here. And Walz kept warning you guys yesterday, saying don't react, don't overreact, peacefully protest. But when you look at the video clips, they were trying to break into the federal building in one of the clips. And then also they're throwing ice and snow at those agents. Let's take a look.
Now, I don't know if you've ever been pepper sprayed or maced. Yeah, it sucks. So, on one end, think about this. If someone is doing their job and they're literally following the law set forth by our forefathers when it comes to security for the nation. Now, I don't fault these people for going out there and protesting their rights as citizens to say, I don't believe in this, but you shouldn't impede them. You shouldn't get in front of them. You shouldn't try to block their traffic, their movement. At that point, it's a no-win. You should. I don't think it's ever been, we're just going to give up. And yeah, we'll let these people out if you move out of the way so we can leave. That's just not how it works. So it's so deep in their ideology that has them out there like this. Now, let's just go ahead and fantasize a world where Judge Dreads exist. People wouldn't be acting like this. Now, we don't want to live in that kind of society. This is just what we have to deal with in the current moment. So I myself like to take the approach of let's weigh all the facts, look at everything in depth, and go from there, but follow the letter of the law. Literally, why not? It's set there for a reason. Whether you're a biblical person or just a normal, everyday 9-to-5 citizen, the law's there for a reason. You want traffic, stop signs, you want the things to make life cohesive, make society have rules to abide by. Once you get a collective together that is anti-law, when I was younger, I elaborated, I have a lot of experience with law from the other side. I used to be a career criminal, and I broke the law my whole life, evaded, and everything. I was even smart back then as a criminal to know, like, I'm not going out here in front of the law to let them catch me. So most of these people aren't even criminals at all. They're what we would call back then a civilian. So they're out there with good intentions and brainwashed into thinking they're doing some sort of social justice warrior activism. When in reality, they're clogging things up and backlogging everything and making it almost impossible for these people to do their job. So now we have repercussions like this. So if they would step back and let them do their job, it wouldn't be that bad. Now, this is a live protest right afterwards, and ICE's main guy shows up, and he's a man of portly stature like myself. I wouldn't even say portly. He's just a man, a normal size man, Asian man or woman. But hey, whatever. We're about 5'5". He's around my height. So they want to haze him and say stuff, and crowds get together, and people have something to rally around, and it brings them together, and somehow this is the results rather than going in the community and actually making a difference and changing the community and these things that are happening. They would rather wait till an incident and show up and then cause more mayhem and more chaos, or just be in the way the whole time. So let's check out what these people have to say. If you've yet to follow, please do. This is the Homeless Conservative, and we're going over yesterday's events in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where an ICE agent shot and unalived a protester that has been following them from state to state and got in their way. And after looking at the footage a little bit more in depth, and when you get a chance, you can rewind this, or maybe you're at that point past it. But you'll see the different camera angles, and there was an officer at the front left headlight area of the sport utility as she took off. You can see as he backs away, he was like maybe hitting the leg or something, but was still like, wow, man. I have fled from officers. I've had cops right up on the car, grabbing at the car and me taking off. I maneuvered my way out of actual physical arrest. A lot. I've done a lot in my criminal activity, so I can understand from law enforcement stand side dealing with people like that on a daily basis. And then this lady comes along that, I don't believe she was trying to hurt anyone physically. If she could mentally hurt someone, that was maybe her intentions, but I don't believe she was there to hurt anyone. So I do, mourn this woman's loss. I hope that her family is doing well, and that, the nation can come together even in something like this that maybe another side doesn't see. The conservatives, we're not the type to be like, oh, well, she deserved it, she should. No, not at all. Not at all. If anything, can we get a little bit more tighter training on this woman and what's the real threat here? Is it that much of a threat to discharge her firearm? You walked up on the vehicle.
That's Greg Babino.
Just the initial get out of here. Once she started moving, you could back away completely, and she was taking off. I don't know. We can't do the what ifs at this point. all we can do is deal with what's going on right now in our environment, in our communities. So come together and try to rationalize people's behavior by stepping back and just really thinking for a moment. You know, you're thinking for a change. I'm trained in teaching that. Here comes the annoying, loud, whatever you want to call that, megaphone thing. But as they haze the man as he walks through, and all of the ICE agents lined up there protecting their facility and equipment that taxpayers are paying for, you know, there's got to be a different way for both sides to handle this. On one end, it's law enforcement. ICE to people somewhat is different ideology looking at than the police themselves. They riot against police too. But ICE comes along in the last, couple years in a presence like this, a force like this, so many like this that we've never seen before in different cities deployed there. So it's somewhat of a culture shock to a lot of the citizens, I feel. And they're emboldened to come out and get in the way and do stuff like this. This is not going to help. Once again, I'm not saying anything's wrong with them doing their protest here and being on public property, and they actually pay these people salary, so they're out there, paying for these people to stand there and stop them from maybe looting or rioting the building, whatever it may be that their intentions are beyond this. If they could do it, who knows what's going through another person's mind. But I can tell you what's going through mine right now. And that is, this has to get cleaned up pretty quick. And when I say this, I'm talking about as a whole, city to city. The cleanup has got to continue. There's no doubt about that. You cannot bring in an excess of people from other countries that do not hold the same core values and ideologies as you, or the country will turn into their country. Case in point, Southwest Africa. They had a bunch of people in there that were Christian style and ran the country and built the country up, and then whatever happened, if it's apartheid, whatever you want to call it, I don't think that's the proper terminology, but I hate these horns. I can't stand them, I'll tell you what. So, good, I'm glad that stopped. But they now have destroyed the country and started killing all the white farmers off and can't even keep the land going. And IQ does match culture and ideologies. In America, here in the West, and even in the Far East, as in like Asia, we do hold a lot of our core values sacred in the treatment of others, like Christianity, because it's a country built on Christianity and tolerance. But when does tolerance hit a point where you have to stop a foreign ideology from invading your country, embedding itself so deep that even in New York they have a mayor that isn't open, the anti-capitalist, that he's a communist and open communist about it. And I don't believe they're going to succeed if they take everything as a collective, as a whole, and we're all one. We are, but there also has to be that ladder, something for people to strive for, something people to work hard for. Case in point, myself in these videos, and if you've yet to subscribe, please do. Like, follow, and share, and leave a comment. I engage you guys, and I can't wait to have some more dialogue when it comes to future shows, and this one as well. So thank you for watching. This has been The Homeless Conservative, hosted by yours truly, Don Poe. Once again, come together, everyone. We are Americans first. These people are Americans, and they're trying to remove non-Americans. I'm sorry to say it like that, but that's the truth. Love you guys. One. Yeah.